Okay, section 4. Oh, and I will check your homework here in a minute, so after we're done. Section 4. The Algebra of Matrices. What do you guys need? What do you need? Okay. First thing I want to do is make sure we do some basic stuff. So this is number 8. This is the addition, subtraction of matrices. 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, minus 2, 1, negative 1, 1, 3, negative 2. Okay, so some basics, and that's really all today is about, doing some basics with matrices. How do you do this? Who can explain how to subtract matrices together? What do you need? You guys remember how to do this? I know you've been taught how to do it. If you don't remember, that's okay. Okay. Addition and subtraction of matrices means you can take each exact entry and add or subtract them together. So this is row 1 here and column 1. And I can subtract that with row 1, column 1. So I'm going to take 0 minus 2 and get an answer. Okay, so what is 0 minus 2? Negative 2. Okay? And then we have row 1, column 2 with row 1, column 2. So you're just matching up each position. So what is 1 minus 1? 0. Okay, everybody finish that. Match up each entry, each position, and subtract them. Pretty simple. Finally, all right? New part to the chapter. Okay. Who got it right? Excellent, excellent. Okay, well what about something like this? We're going to take a scalar and multiply it through this matrix. And then add it to this matrix. So first of all, who can tell me what to do? Anybody know what to do? I know you're still copying it down. Yeah, take each of these entries and multiply it by 2. That's the first thing. You do multiplication before we do addition. So this is just like your basic operations. PEMDAS, it all is the same thing. So today's lesson is really about operations with matrices, making sure that we're all on the same page. So you would multiply this whole matrix, every entry by 2, and then you would add it to this matrix. So you would match up this row with that row. Does that match up? Why not? Well, yeah. Well, you're going to add this 2 times 0 is 0, 0 plus. There's not a column here, is there? So this is something you cannot do. So when you add and subtract matrices, they have to have exactly the same size. So can't do. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and look at a multiplication. 2, 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, multiplied with 1, negative 2, 3, 6, and negative 2, 0. This first matrix is a 2 by 3, and this one is a 3 by 2. So we'll talk about size and multiplication properties at this point. Alright, so I'm going to write out here, what is it? Anybody remember how to multiply matrices? So what you're going to do is you're going to take this row, you're going to multiply it through this column. So row 1, column 1 is going to give me this first entry, row 1, column 1 answer. Now how do you do that? You take this, and it's just like you fold, turn it on its side here. You're going to take this entry times that entry, plus this entry times that entry, plus this entry times that entry. Okay, so you're just turning it up, right side up, and multiplying the entries together and adding those answers. So 2 times 1, 2, okay, so I'll just write this down. 2 plus 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And that answer will be that entry in that position. Everybody do that? Come up with your answer. We're going to do the whole thing. Practice, practice, practice. So you got that answer? So that's row 1, column 1's answer. So row 1, column 1. Now you're going to take row 1 with that column. So what is it that we're doing? We take each row and we're going to multiply it by each column in the next matrix. So again, for row 1, column 2, that's going to give me this answer. Row 1, column 2. What do we have? 2 times negative 2, negative 4. 1 times 6 is 6, thank you. And 2 times 0 is 0. And that'll be that entry. So row 1 is going to give me row 1's answers. How do I get row 2's answers? Take row 2 times each column. Now you guys are going to do this. You're going to take this row, 6, 3, and 4, and multiply it by that column. So this is row 2. So you're going to have row 2, column 1's answer. This row times that column. And then take this row and multiply that by that column and get the next entry. So everybody try that. I'll walk through here in a second again just to make sure. Remember, there's lots of places to make mistakes. Maybe writing it out would help. Go ahead and put the answers up here. Who got that right? Who's still working? So almost everybody got it right.
In the first row of the first column, instead of a 1, shouldn't that be 2?
I don't know, did I do it wrong? 2 and 3 is 5, plus negative 4 should be 1.
Okay, never mind.
That's right. Okay, so here, that's a great segue to this. There are so many places to make calculation errors, which you've already figured that out with what we did in the last two sections. Okay? So we need to be very, very careful. If you have to write out every one of these steps, then do it so you don't make the error. I know you don't want to. You're all like, I can do this in my head. It's not that you can't do that in your head. It's just to keep you from making a mistake. All right? You say, well, it takes too long. Well, I can't, force you to do anything. If you don't complain about your mistakes, okay? Now on the test, you shouldn't make a lot of mistakes. I'm assuming you're going to make some mistakes, some calculation mistakes. If you forget how to multiply a matrix times another matrix, then that's your problem, okay? But if you just make a silly mistake here or there, that's, we'll take that into consideration. I may count this as 4 points because there's 4 different operations there. I may count the whole problem like 5 points. Did you know how to do the problem? That's 1 point. Did you get each correct answer? So we may make it so there's lots of places for points. That's what I normally do when I teach this lesson. So we'll look at that, and especially on the test, we'll try to figure out a way to give more points for the fact that you knew how to do the problem, but you just didn't get the right answer because you made a silly error. I think you should get most credit for knowing how to do the problem. All right, and that's what I tried to do on your quizzes. If it looked like you knew what you're doing, that last question on the quiz, that was worth 6 points. And did you know how to do the problem? Okay, I gave you 4 points, and the answer was 2 points. Could you actually do the calculations correctly? If you got any of the answers in the answer, then you got 5 out of 6 on that problem. And then to obviously get all 6, you had to do everything right. So I am trying to give you some more points for at least showing you that you are aware of what to do. The other part I want to show you is this is a 2 by 3, this is a 3 by 2, and the answer is going to give you the outside size, a 2 by 2. That's how you figure that out. All right, that's multiplication of matrices. Are we ready to move on? I'm going to write something on here. This is number 18. 5 times x minus c equals d. So, let me ask you something. How do you solve that problem? What are you supposed to do when you see something like that? What?
Divide off the 5.
You can divide off the 5. What else could you do? You can distribute. I'll open up this, see what this is. 18. Okay. So what I want you to do is distribute first. This will be 5x minus 5c equals d. And we're going to solve for x. So what do? What? Add 5c to the right. So 5x equals, we'll say 5c plus d. We'll keep it alphabetical. Then what? Divide by 5 or multiply everything by 1/5, okay? So I'll just write it like that for the moment. Okay. Now, they actually give you what C and D are in the book. So here we go. This is what we're going to put this up here with the matrices that they give us. Alright, so all that you're doing is transferring and substituting in an equation, alright, this expression. So we're going to have 1/5 times, this is a big bracket, not a matrix. 5 times C. Well, C is this matrix. 2, 3, 1, 0, and 0, 2. I'm going to add it to this matrix, D. They tell us D is this. 10, 20, 30, 20, and 10, 0. Okay, now you are supposed to do the calculation. What do you think you're going to do first? Sorry to say that. That's 30. What should we do first?
Distribute the 5 into C matrix.
You can distribute the 5. Okay, and when we do that, this goes to 1, so you don't have to take anything and multiply through it. You take 1/5 of this, that means you got to take 1/5 of each of those entries. Or you can take 5 times each of these entries, add it to this matrix, and then take 1/5 of all of them. It doesn't matter how you do it, you choose what to do. So I would do what Ned was saying, I would take 1/5 of 5, and then take 1/5 of each of those entries, and then add the two matrices together. Everybody do that, please. So 1/5 of 5 is 1, so this matrix is going to stay the same. But now you got to take 1/5 of each of these entries. Give you a second, and then we'll write it out here. Basic operations, algebra operations. And that's what we're going to get into, more algebra operations with matrices. So when you take 1/5 of the last matrix, that shows you what you get. Now add the two together. Looks like everybody was doing it properly, so I'll write the answer down and we'll see if you get the same thing. Again, just to show you the sizes, this is a 3x2. This is a 3x2. Because they're the same size, we can add or subtract them. And anybody get that for an answer? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Not too difficult, right? Alright, so that's the majority of your assignment. And it doesn't get much harder than this. Okay, so let's go ahead and do something else. This is number 36, very close to the end of our assignment. So here's your calculation. 3 times this 2x2, x, y, yx equals this matrix, 6, -9, -9, 6. So my question to you is, what does x equal and what does y equal? First of all, what would you do when you see the 3 out in front here? Distribute, you could divide everything by 3 over there, that'd be fine. But if you distribute, 3 times x should equal 6. So what's x? 2. Well, let's check the other one. 3 times x is 6, so x equals 2. 3 times y equals -9. So what's y? -3. So if you have to write down the calculations, do so. I'll write it down here. 3x should equal 6, so x equals 2. And 3y equals negative 9, so y equals negative 3. So if you have to write down the calculations, do so. The calculations will get more difficult, but shouldn't be anything you can't do. Okay? All right. We're going to stop. Actually, we'll do one last thing. This is number 40. I'm going to have you end with something like this. This is to build for something later. The majority of your assignment, actually everything except for this, is your assignment. So given a set of equations, the instructions are write the system of equations as a matrix equation. And that tells you to see what example it is. So this is going to be set up a little bit differently. The first thing you want to do is actually set up your coefficients. Now, what we did yesterday is we included the answers. Today it's going to be a little different. So we're just going to set up our coefficients to begin with. 6, negative 1, 1, 2, 0, 1, 0, 1, negative 2. Now notice I didn't include the answers there. I'm going to actually multiply that by x, y, and z. Now, how do we do multiplication again?
Row 1 is column 1.
Row 1 times this column. Well, if I take this row times that column, don't I get that first equation? 6x plus negative y, or minus y, plus 1z. Right? And what's that supposed to equal? So let me ask you, we have a 3 by 3 matrix, we're multiplying it by a 3 by 1. What size matrix is that going to give me? It's the last numbers, right? Or the first and the last number. So it's going to give me a 3 by 1. Which should be your answers. 12, 7, and 4. This row times that column is going to give me one entry. Row 1, column 1 is going to give me row 1, column 1 answer. Row 2 times column 1 is going to give me row 2, column 1's answer. Row 3 times column 1 is row 3, column 1's answer. So this, we're setting up algebraic expressions with matrices at this point. Okay? Alright. So your assignment, should you choose to do it, page 669, 5 to 45 odds.